Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox platform. Reach out to me for pricing, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we're discussing a watch that was made from 2008 to 2014. This is an extravagant and grandiose Rolex Oyster Perpetual Day-Date II, reference 218235 in Rolex Everose Red Gold. The timepiece measures 41 millimeters in diameter. It is 12 millimeters thick. From end link to end link, which is really how you're going to wear this watch, the total distance across the wrist is 53 millimeters. I can't imagine anyone is going to wear this on a strap, and there is a 21 millimeter spacing between the lugs. So it's a broad timepiece. 53 millimeters from lug to lug is pretty close to a 44 millimeter Betterini case Panerai Luminor, which I often use as a comparable for larger watches. This is every millimeter that size, and it looks it. It's flat. It will fit underneath the dress cuff. That's not a problem, but it has a wingspan, as you can see from side to side. I would recommend it for a wrist of no smaller a circumference than 15 centimeters. Again, my wrist is 16. I'm wearing it fine, but if my wrist were much smaller, there would be some issues with lug or end link overlap at the edge of the wrist. It includes the Rolex President bracelet, which has been inextricably linked to the Day-Date model since the two debuted together in the mid-1950s. And while the watch, due to its illustrious and occasionally infamous ownership, has been nicknamed the Rolex President or Presidential, the bracelet is properly named President. Now, one difference between this and a Day-Date 41 is that the Day-Date II features a solid end link, so it's considerably broader across the wrist. The Day-Date 41 is 47.5 millimeters across the wrist. This is 53, so keep that in mind. The bracelet's a three-link design with polished center, polished outer faces, and satin finished shoulders. You can see it has a conforming end link to better join it to the case without a gap. You can also appreciate the fact that it is a fairly robust solid center link design, so you don't really need an Oyster sports bracelet here. This has as much security as you would ever need. There's a taper to the links. Removable links are fixed by screws, and you can see plenty of them on both sides. It actually vents the wrist a little bit better than the Oyster, and that's due to the gaps between the links. Because of their short cross section, they're also very silky and pliant on the wrist. Taking a quick look at the clasp, it's the famous crown clasp, with the only sign of the partition point being that 5-point Rolex coronet. And then you can see that it has a little bit of a lift lock system that's different from previous President bracelets and crown clasps, which were just friction fit. This one actually has a latch. You need to unlatch it to open it. Inside, thick gauge metal, polished rose gold, handsome. Rolex makes its own cases, clasps, and bracelets. It has its own foundry, and it creates its own golds. Its Everose, which debuted in the mid-2000s, has a higher copper percentage to make it redder, and a higher platinum percentage so it won't fade to pink gold or yellow gold over time, unlike many conventional rose and red golds. We have a fluted bezel, a long-time signature of Rolex gold watches. And you can see that this one has excellent retained definition. It still looks like a series of cut gems, suggesting that it has been rarely, if ever, refinished. We have a twin lock crown in gold. You know that because it has two dots. That's a twin lock in gold. Screw down crown, 100-meter water resistance. The dial, a lovely champagne rose metallic sunburst with gold indices, on top of which are mounted hand-selected brilliant cut and baguette diamonds. And you can appreciate that they add richness to the watch without being as overt as a gem set case, bracelet, or bezel would be. The crown, the hands, and the bases on which the diamonds are mounted are all 18-karat rose gold. This watch, which I probably should have wound before demonstrating, is powered by a unique movement found only in the Day-Date II, and that is the caliber 3156. It features hacking or stop seconds, which you can see in action right here if you want to synchronize the watch to a reference time. It also has a double quick set system, so you can rapidly set the date, and you can also set the day, and you can set these two things independently. Now, it has a typical Rolex Oyster case back that is a solid screwed-in case back, and the movement features larger discs for the day and the date, as well as a Paraflex shock protection system not featured on the conventional and contemporary caliber 3155 that was found on the smaller day-dates during this period. The movement's a bidirectional automatic winder with a 48-hour power reserve. It's got the double quick set, the hacking seconds, 31 pivot jewels, beats at 8 beats per second. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer. For durability, it has a full balance bridge with a free sprung balance architecture. It has an overcoil hairspring that allows the watch to keep even time in any position on your wrist or on your dresser. And this timepiece features a Rolex Parachrom Blue anti-magnetic niobium zirconium hairspring, highly anti-magnetic, and blue oxidized to stabilize it against decline or decay over time. All of that, and of course the watch was one of the earliest, this Day-Date II, to feature Rolex's in-house Paraflex shock protection system. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.